The voice note I never sent. Arham never believed small decisions could change the direction of a life until the night he didn't press send. It was a simple voice note recorded at 1:13 a.m. after an argument that had lasted longer than it should have. The message sat unsent in his chat window, a 3-minute confession of everything he had been too stubborn to say face to face. He had replayed it twice, thumb hovering over the send button, pride battling vulnerability. In the end, he locked his phone and told himself there would be another chance to speak. There wasn't. By morning, the silence between him and Zara had hardened into something neither of them knew how to break. Days passed without communication. Weeks followed, and the voice note remained in his phone, unsent, unheard, unfinished. 3 months later, Arham moved into a smaller apartment across the city, trying to distance himself from familiar streets and memories that echoed too loudly. He found the voice note again one evening while clearing old files. He pressed play absent-mindedly. His own voice filled the quiet room, softer than he remembered, less defensive. He sounded tired, honest, almost hopeful. When the recording ended, the screen flickered briefly. Instead of showing the usual playback bar, a notification appeared at the top of his phone. Message delivered. His heart skipped. He checked the chat window. The voice note was no longer marked unsent. It showed a single gray tick. Confused, he opened Zara's profile. Her display picture had not changed in months. Her last scene was hidden. He assumed it was a delayed glitch. Still, the idea unsettled him. The following morning, his phone buzzed at exactly 1:13 a.m., the same timestamp as the recording. A new voice note appeared in the same chat. The contact name still read Zara. His hands trembled slightly as he pressed play. What he heard was not her voice. It was his own voice again, but different. The tone was calmer, steadier, older somehow. The message began with, "You finally sent it." Arham froze. The recording continued. "I know you're confused. I was too. But this is what happens when you leave words waiting too long." His breath grew shallow. The voice went on to describe events that had not yet happened: an accidental meeting at a bookstore, a second-chance conversation under city lights, and a choice that would determine whether history repeated itself or healed. Arham replayed the message repeatedly, searching for signs of manipulation or editing. The audio was seamless. It sounded exactly like him. He checked the metadata of the file. It showed tomorrow's date. His stomach tightened. That night, unable to sleep, he sat in the dim glow of his living room lamp, staring at the chat window. At 1:13 a.m. again, another notification appeared. A text message this time. Some messages wait to be lived before they are heard. His pulse raced. He typed back instinctively, "Who is this?" The message failed to send. No internet error occurred. It simply remained pending, as though the conversation allowed only one direction. The next day unfolded strangely. At lunch break, Arham wandered into a small, independent bookstore he had never noticed before. The bell above the door chimed softly as he entered. He moved between shelves aimlessly until he nearly collided with someone reaching for the same novel. It was Zara. The moment felt suspended in air. She looked just as surprised as he did. For a second, neither spoke. Then she smiled, hesitant but genuine. They talked awkwardly at first, then more easily. Coffee followed. Laughter came slower but felt real. Arham remembered the voice note's prediction and felt a chill creep along his spine. Every detail was aligning. That evening, another message arrived at 1:13 a.m. "This is where you usually pull away," the future version of his voice said. "This is where fear disguises itself as logic." Arham sat silently absorbing the words. He thought about how many times he had avoided vulnerability because it felt safer. The message continued, "You think silence protects you, but it only postpones regret." He closed his eyes. The accuracy of the statement hurt. He didn't know whether the voice was some elaborate illusion or something beyond explanation, but he couldn't deny the truth in it. Over the next week, the pattern continued. every night at the same time, a new voice note arrived. Each one described choices he would face the following day. Small moments, opportunities to open up, chances to admit fault without defensiveness. None of the predictions were dramatic, they were painfully ordinary, yet each one carried weight. Arham began responding differently in conversations with Zara, choosing honesty where he once chose sarcasm, listening where he once interrupted. Slowly, the tension between them softened. It wasn't perfect. There were pauses, uncertainties, reminders of old wounds, but there was movement. On the seventh night, the voice note sounded different, quieter, almost fading. "You don't need me anymore," it said. The point was never to rewrite the past. It was to stop postponing your present. Arham felt an unexpected sadness. The messages, unsettling as they were, had become a strange guide. He asked aloud into the empty room, "Who are you?" The recording answered, "I'm the version of you that finally pressed send." Silence followed. No dramatic sound, no glitch, just the hum of his refrigerator in the kitchen. The next day, Arham decided to record a new voice note, not to the future, not to a mysterious echo, but to Zara. He didn't overthink it this time. He spoke clearly about his fears, his pride, and his desire to not repeat old patterns. His thumb hovered over the send button briefly, but not with hesitation. He pressed it. 2 blue ticks appeared almost instantly. A minute later, his phone buzzed with her reply. A simple, heartfelt message that didn't promise perfection, but invited effort. He smiled quietly. That night, 1:13 a.m. passed without notification. The chat window remained still. The unsent voice note that had started everything was gone from his files. In its place was only the recent conversation, alive and ongoing. Arham lay back on his couch, listening to the quiet city outside his window. He realized that sometimes the scariest thing is not losing someone, it's speaking honestly enough to keep them. The future version of himself had not been a ghost or a glitch, it had been courage delayed. Weeks later, while scrolling through old conversations, Arham noticed something unusual. At the very top of the chat history, before the first message he had ever sent to Zara, there was a timestamp reading 1:13 a.m. No message attached, no content, just the time. He stared at it for a long moment. Then he locked his phone gently and set it aside. Some messages, he understood now, are not meant to be heard. They are meant to be lived.